What if the most expensive part of your life isn't your rent? It isn't your groceries or even your taxes. What if it's the secret government you unknowingly fund every single day? What if the real purpose of inflation isn't economic stability, but a $500 billion black budget hidden inside the rising prices you see everywhere? Because every time the cost of living goes up, a silent tax is being collected. Not by your state, not by the IRS, but by a network of agencies, contractors, and intelligence groups that operate completely off the books. You don't get to vote on them. You don't get to audit them. For the most part, you don't even get to know they exist. But they get funded every single time your dollar loses a little more of its value. Let me ask you something. If a government wanted to wage a war without Congress ever approving it, how would they do it? If they wanted to run covert operations on foreign soil, how would they pay for it? If they wanted to build surveillance systems that would never ever survive public scrutiny, where would that money come from? You're about to discover the mechanism. What you're about to hear will fundamentally change how you view every dollar you've ever earned. Let's go back to the very beginning of these black budgets. The year is 1947. The National Security Act is signed into law. This single piece of legislation created the CIA, the National Security Council, and the entire modern intelligence framework as we know it. But it also created something else, a funding loophole big enough to hide empires inside. Congress quickly learned that traditional budgets were too slow, too visible, and far too political for the kind of work these new agencies were designed to do. The intelligence community needed something faster, something hidden, something completely deniable. And they found the perfect tool: inflation. But not right away. The full power of this tool wouldn't be unlocked for decades. In the early days, the US needed to finance a laundry list of secret activities. Coups, proxy wars, vast espionage networks, covert weapons programs, foreign militias, and psychological operations. The official budgets just couldn't cover all of it. Public oversight would have killed most of these missions before they even started. So they used contingency funds, special appropriations, and a web of classified channels. But even those weren't enough. They needed a floodgate. And then, in 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard. In that moment, the US government gained a weapon more powerful than any missile: the ability to create unlimited money. From that point on, inflation wasn't a bug in the system. It became a feature. Think about it. When new money is printed out of thin air, taxpayers don't notice it immediately. Prices rise slowly at first, and the dollar weakens silently. The government's massive debt effectively becomes cheaper to pay back. And most importantly, secret programs can be funded without any congressional fights, without any votes, and without any public awareness. Sound familiar? It's the exact same tactic used by the Soviet Union, by modern China, by emerging dictatorships, and by countless failing economies throughout history. When you print money, you are taxing the people without ever telling them. After 2001, the use of black budgets went nuclear. The official intelligence budget jumped, sure, but the unofficial one exploded. Suddenly there was a need to fund black sites, drone programs, massive cyber operations, more foreign militias, off-the-book defense contracts, and a global surveillance architecture that would boggle the mind. What's the fastest way to get hundreds of billions of dollars for all that? Inflate, borrow, hide. And then repeat. Every year the dollar got weaker, the shadow government grew stronger. Does this pattern ring a bell? Because it's the same one we see today. In the COVID emergency spending, in the Ukraine war assistance packages, in the ongoing Middle East operations, in the expansion of domestic surveillance programs, in the massive classified tech contracts awarded to private companies. Where did all that money really come from? You already know the answer. It came from your shrinking purchasing power. Here's the twist you need to understand. No black budget in history has ever shrunk. They only grow. Intelligence agencies don't surrender power. Defense contractors don't voluntarily reduce their costs. Cyber programs don't just pause their development. Every new crisis adds another layer of secret spending. Every layer costs more money. And every single dollar of that money is siphoned from the economy through inflation. Governments learn something incredibly dangerous. Inflation is taxation without consent. No votes, no debates, no limits. It's the ultimate backdoor to fund anything they want. But the craziest part of all this? Some of the most expensive and ambitious programs ever created were funded this way, including a project you absolutely will not believe. The receipts behind the biggest invisible program in modern history are more shocking than anything you've heard so far. The name of the project will stun you. Have you ever wondered why your money buys less and less each year? We're told it's just inflation, a natural part of the economy. But what if it's not just a side effect? What if it's a design? What if inflation is actually a hidden system for funding things you're not meant to see? Today, we're going to peel back the layers and follow the money. This is the story of how your shrinking purchasing power becomes someone else's secret budget. When a currency loses value, your money buys less, everything gets more expensive, and your savings disappear. But at the same time, something else is happening automatically. Government revenue is going up. Think about it. When prices rise, sales taxes, income taxes, and property taxes all generate more money, even if the tax rates don't change. No new laws are passed, no debates are held in public, and there are no visible changes to the tax code. It's a natural by design shift that funnels more and more of your resources upward. This extra revenue becomes a quiet pool of money. It doesn't attract media attention, and it doesn't require the same level of public scrutiny as the normal budget process. It's essentially invisible. And that invisibility is the entire point. It's a silent funding stream flowing continuously in the background. Now let's look closer at the numbers hidden between the lines. When you dig into official financial reports and public audits, strange patterns start to emerge. You find discrepancies that are hard to explain. You see budget lines labeled with vague terms like unallocated or classified. You notice sudden, massive increases in spending categories with descriptions that don't really tell you anything. And then there are the internal transfers that aren't publicly explained, and recurring multi-billion-dollar adjustments that seem to come out of nowhere. Now, nothing illegal is being claimed here, but the numbers just don't add up neatly. And something even more interesting emerges from the data. Periods of higher inflation often perfectly coincide with spikes in spending in very specific sectors. Sectors like advanced technology, classified research, national security, and massive infrastructure projects. These are all areas with enormous budgets and, critically, very little transparency. It's a correlation that's too consistent to be just a coincidence. So, where does all this extra money actually end up? If you look at the global economy, the trend is surprisingly consistent across different countries. Companies involved in very specific fields tend to experience explosive growth during inflationary periods. We're talking about large-scale technology development, advanced scientific research, next-generation infrastructure systems, cybersecurity, telecommunications, aerospace, and high-end defense innovation. Their growth isn't because ordinary consumers are suddenly buying more of their products. In fact, consumers are usually cutting back. These sectors are growing because they are receiving funding that scales directly with rising prices. They are plugged into that silent, automatic revenue stream. Your shrinking purchasing power isn't just vanishing into thin air, it's reappearing somewhere else. It's becoming someone else's expanding budget, fueling industries that operate far from public view. The less your dollar is worth, the more funding they receive. So what kind of projects require this kind of endless, non-stop funding? Even without access to classified details, we know these massive systems exist. Think about global digital security networks that monitor communications. Think about large-scale data infrastructure, the server farms and fiber optics that underpin the modern world. Think about satellite communication grids, cyber defense technology, and the research labs working on emerging tech like AI and quantum computing. Add to that international monitoring systems and long-term aerospace and energy projects. These aren't small-scale operations. They are massive, they are permanent, and they require a continuous, uninterrupted flow of capital to maintain and expand. Inflation provides exactly that. A renewable, self-generating source of value that doesn't depend on public approval or political debates. It's the perfect engine for the permanent state. This brings us to the final, most important question. Why does inflation never truly go away? With all the economic tools at their disposal, governments could stabilize prices if they really wanted to. The simple, uncomfortable answer is that they don't want to. Because inflation, while inconvenient for you, is incredibly useful for the institutions that operate at the top. First, it quietly lowers the real value of national debt over time, making it easier to manage. Second, as we've seen, it automatically increases tax revenue without anyone having to vote for a tax hike. Third, it provides the perfect cover to support long-term strategic projects that would be controversial if they were funded directly and transparently. It allows certain economic sectors to grow automatically. And it gives governments incredible spending flexibility without the usual political backlash. Inflation is the perfect mechanism to move vast resources without headlines, debates, or public resistance. So now you understand why life feels more expensive every single year. Your money isn't just losing value by accident. That value is being systematically redirected. It's reappearing somewhere else. Not through laws you can vote on, not through debates you can participate in, but through a quiet, invisible process. Built directly into the structure of modern currency, it's a process that moves your purchasing power toward parts of the system you will never see directly, but will continue to support every single day. Because inflation is silent, it's automatic, it's unavoidable, and it is brutally effective. The next time you see prices go up, don't just ask, why does everything cost more? Instead ask, where is all that value being redirected? If this made you think, share this video with someone who needs to see it. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think.